Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse 50. The chapter is entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. We're getting in towards the end of this whole chapter. Is getting very interesting, very enlightening, deep knowledge and food, lots of food for thought. So do join us as we dive in again. We will start with the opening prayers. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Jayam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parikvacharya Stota Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parikvacharya Stota Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nita Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Mother Geeta, it's all yours, Mother. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My humble obeisances are goes to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse number 50. Nishpaditam devakrityam aveshesham pratikshate tavad yuyam avikshadvam bhaved yavad iheshwaraha. Nishpaditam devakrityam avashesham pratikshate tavad yuyam avikshadvam bhavet yavad iheshwaraha. Nishpaditam devakrityam avashesham pratikshate tavad yuyam avikshadvam bhavet yavad iheshwaraha. Nishpaditam, performed. Devakrityam, what was to be done on behalf of the demigods. Avashesham, the rest. Pratikshate, being awaited. Tavat, up to that time. Yuyam, all of you Pandavas. Avikshadvam, observe and wait. Bhavet, may. Yavat, as long as. Iha, in this world. Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he is awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. Purport. The Lord descends from his abode, Krishnaloka, the topmost planet in the spiritual sky, in order to help the demigod administrators of this material world when they are greatly vexed by the asuras, who are envious not only of the Lord, but also of his devotees. As referred to above, the conditioned living beings contact material association by their own choice, dictated by a strong desire to lord it over the resources of the material world and become imitation lords of all they survey. Everyone is trying to become an imitation god. There is keen competition among such imitation gods, and such competitors are generally known as asuras. When there are too many asuras in the world, then it becomes a hell for those who are devotees of the Lord. Due to the growth of the asuras, the mass of people who are generally devoted to the Lord by nature and the pure devotees of the Lord, including the demigods and higher planets, pray to the Lord for relief, and the Lord either descends personally from his abode or deputes some of his devotees to remodel the fallen condition of human society or even animal society. Such disruptions take place not only in human society, but also among animals, birds, or other living beings, including the demigods in the higher planets. Lord Sri Krishna descended personally to vanquish asuras like Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupal, and during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, among almost all these asuras were killed by the Lord. Now he is awaiting the annihilation of his own dynasty called the Yaduvamsha, who appeared by his will in this world. He wanted to take them away before his own departure to his eternal abode. Narada, like Vidura, did not disclose the imminent annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, but indirectly gave a hint to the king and his brothers to wait till the incident happened and the Lord departed. Translation. The Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he is awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing with this chapter where Narad Muni is instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj. I took a few points from the purport that we can discuss this morning. Very first point in the verse is that the Lord has already performed his duties. That indicates that Krishna, just because he's the Supreme Lord, he does not forget to set an example for us. He also performs his duties. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is explained that one should perform their prescribed duty, not just the duty, prescribed, not what we think is our duty, but we should get guidance from a bona fide spiritual master on what is our prescribed duty. Just like when we have disease in the body, we consult a doctor and take the prescription. We don't just randomly pick up any medicine we like, over the counter and think that it's going to cure us. Each disease has a particular medication. Of course, sometimes medicines don't work. Then you have to leave it to the Lord and say, okay, because it's not possible to really get a cure for all the diseases. But here we are talking about prescribed duty, not prescribed medication, prescribed duty. And that comes from the bona fide spiritual master. He's the one who knows the disciple in and out, knows the nature of the disciple, knows the situation, family situation, everything, and then gives a prescribed duty for that disciple. And then it is up to the disciple to follow it sincerely, because Krishna himself is following his prescribed duty. Now, Narad Muni is instructing the Pandavas that they should wait as long as Krishna is on this earthly planet. Now, the reason behind Narad Muni saying this to the Pandavas, he had to do it indirectly. He could not tell them directly that Krishna is going to disappear soon. As soon as the Yadu dynasty disappears, Krishna is going to disappear. He didn't want to say that directly because Pandavas were too attached to Krishna. And it would be very, very painful for them, to hear this. So he is guiding them, instructing them indirectly. Sometimes we also get instructions from our spiritual master, which kind of are, given indirectly, but an intelligent disciple is able to figure out what does the spiritual master actually trying to say and what am I supposed to do. I've talked about this before also, that there are three kinds of disciples. Topmost is the one who follows the instructions even before receiving them, because the disciple knows what does my spiritual master expect from me, is always alert and ready to follow those instructions even before they are given. The second type is the one who follows after getting instructions. But the third type is one who does not follow the instructions even after getting them. So these are the three different types of disciples. Now, this verse is talking about Krishna helping the demigods. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, we have heard about the position of the demigods. Even in this verse, it is mentioned administrators. We know, and even the demigods know, that they are not the Supreme Lord, but they are the administrators. And administrators have certain duties to perform. Like Lord Indra provides rain, Mother Saraswati gives education, Mother Lakshmi gives, Lakshmi, which is money, etc., etc. The sun god gives sunlight, moon god gives moonlight. So each demigod has, I'm not putting Mother Lakshmi on the platform of demigods, but I'm just giving an example that, just like Varunadev, he's the god of water, sunshine, moonlight. So all these demigods, they know their position and they know their duties. They know who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they also know whenever they are in trouble, they need to pray to Krishna. It's not that Lord Indra will start praying to Lord Brahma to help. No. The demigods know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is whom they need to pray. And when they pray to Krishna, Krishna comes down to help them. In Bhagavad Gita, we've also learned about the abodes of the demigods. Brahma bhuvana loka punar avartino Arjuna. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Brahma loka is in the material realm. It's the highest material planet. It's not a spiritual planet. Whereas this verse in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna loka, the abode of Krishna is Goloka. It is the topmost spiritual planet, topmost Vaikuntha planet. What is Vaikuntha? Kuntha means anxiety. Vaikuntha means no anxiety. That is that spiritual planet. And Krishna Loka is the topmost Vaikuntha planets. But the planets of the demigods, it's in the material realm. So the demigods, they are fully aware. They have full knowledge about their own position, about the position of the Supreme Lord, their abode, Krishna's abode. Yes. They know that Krishna is Supreme Lord of all. Sarva Loka Maheshwara. He's the Maha Ishvara. And they know that they are parts of Krishna, just like we are parts of Krishna. Mamayvamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are amshas, we are parts of the Supreme Lord. So when the demigods are in need of help, Krishna helps them whenever necessary. And why? Because the demigods surrender to Krishna. They know that is what their prescribed duty is, to surrender to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada in this purport, as well as in the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about the divine and demoniac natures. There's one whole chapter in Bhagavad Gita. And the demoniac, the asuras, they are the ones who are envious of Krishna, and they are envious of the demigods also. Leave alone that, Prabhupada says they are envious of Krishna's devotees also. We have a very important example that we can, relate to. Prahlad Maharaj, born in the demoniac family, pure devotee, but his father was very envious of him. Why? Because he was surrendered to Lord Vishnu. Own father was envious. So asuras, Srila Prabhupada explains that they want to be the controllers, even though they are so conditioned, they are of that demoniac nature, but they want to be the controllers, like Kamsa, like Ravana, like Hiranyakashipu. They all wanted to be like controllers. And most people in Kali Yuga are in that mentality. They want to be the Lord of all this survey. Srila Prabhupada talks about this in the purport. They want to be the Lord, want to control. First of all, control the spouse, then control the kids, the relatives, the guests who come to the house, the colleagues, you just name it. They just want to control. The moment they enter a room, it's like their eyes are looking, who can I control now? Okay, I control this, this, this. Oh, that one, I don't control that. Let me try to control that also. They think that they are superior, and they consider everyone else to be inferior. And so they think that I am the controller and I need to control everybody around me. But a person who is Krishna conscious, who understands I am the spirit soul and everyone else is also a spirit soul. All are parts of Krishna, all are equal. There are no controllers. There's only one controller, that is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even demigods are not controllers. So who are we, these tiny little living entities? We're thinking that I am the controller or Lord of all I survey. No. And many times we've also experienced in our lives, at least I did when I was working in the corporate world, that people want to go up by putting you down. They step on you so that they can go up. No, that's not how it works. We cannot even control our own body. We are growing old. We are getting diseased. We cannot even control, our hair turning gray or, getting wrinkles on our face. We cannot control our own body. We cannot control old age. We cannot control death. How can we think I am the Lord of all I survey? First, let us control our own bodies. Then we can think that, okay, we can't even, actually, we shouldn't even think that way, because Bhagavad Gita very clearly explains, even Prabhupada in this purport is saying, we are not the controllers. I remember someone came up to me and said, my husband told me that I should worship him like God. I was flabbergasted. I said, what? And she said, the husband said it is given in the scriptures. I said, please show me that reference. I would like to see that reference. And I asked her, please go to your spiritual master and let your spiritual master know. And she came back to me and she said, you know what the spiritual master said? The spiritual master told her that your husband is envious of you. That's why he thinks he is God and he should be worshipped like God. Why is he envious? Because you are better in spiritual life than he is. And I was like, oh, Krishna, worship him like God? That's the height of demoniac mentality. When we are on the spiritual path, when we are, following the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, the first thing that we should understand is I am not this body. All these living entities are not bodies. They are spirit souls. They are parts of Krishna and they are all equal. Where's the question of superiority and inferiority? This happens due to conditioning. And when then this mentality is not changed, then there is a downfall. You see, in Kali Yuga, people are generally, they have, like even Prabhupada says in the purport, they have a strong desire. It's not just a desire, it's very strong desire to be the enjoyers. Why do you think we are in the material world? Because we wanted to be the Lord in the spiritual world. We wanted to take Krishna's position as the controller. We wanted to enjoy like Krishna. And then Krishna said, this is not a place for you. And look, dropped us in this material world. He said, okay, now here you try to be the enjoyers and controllers. So most people in Kali Yuga, they have a strong desire to be enjoyers, and then they start exploiting. There is exploitation. In other words, they try to become imitation God, like Prabhupada mentions in the purport. And he says there are many imitation gods. And they are competing with each other. Who is a better imitation God? This is demoniac mentality. So when there are too many asuras, Srila Prabhupada says, then it is hell. For whom? For the devotees. Because the devotees are then, troubled by these asuras. So here we see, in such a situation, the demigods and the devotees, they pray to Krishna. They surrender to Krishna for relief. And so Krishna comes down to help. If he doesn't come, Srila Prabhupada says he sends his representatives, right, to help the devotees, to preach to them, to show them the process. Like Srila Prabhupada came. He gave us the process to help us come out of this fallen condition situation where Prabhupada says they are living like animals. Just imagine, before we came to Krishna consciousness, what were we doing? So many activities that we were performing were definitely not according to the scriptures. And I'm sure most of us were exploiting the material nature, exploiting whatever has been given to us by the Lord. Because we didn't know what is the goal of human life. We didn't know about Krishna. We didn't know, I'm talking about myself, didn't know who is Krishna, didn't know Bhagavad Gita. Thanks to Srila Prabhupada, when he gave us the process, then it started making sense. So when Krishna descends, like we learned in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. He descends to annihilate the miscreants and also to protect the devotees. And here Srimad Bhagavatam is explaining to us excuse me. It's explaining to us how Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Krishna, he vanquished asuras like Kamsa, Shishupal, right? That was the purpose he descended, to annihilate the miscreants. So now here, Narad Muni, he's explaining to Yudhishthira Maharaj while, instructing him, preaching to him, he's explaining that Krishna has performed his duties, but he's still awaiting for the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Now, we've heard from Srila Prabhupada that this Yadu dynasty, they are the ones who had descended to be part of Yadu dynasty to help Krishna in his pastimes. So they all appear to assist Krishna. And now Krishna wants to take them back to their original spiritual planet before he left the planet, before he left the earthly planet. So he wanted Yadu dynasty to go back to their original places before he himself disappeared from the earthly planet. Now, Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he states that Narad Muni did not disclose the disappearance of Yadu dynasty very directly. Indirectly, he hinted that Yudhishthira Maharaj and Pandavas, you wait for this incident. Then it'll be time for Krishna to disappear. As I already mentioned, that Narad Muni did not directly hint. It's because he knew the Pandavas were very, very, very attached to Krishna. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So he knew that it's going to be very painful for the Pandavas to hear that Krishna is now going to go away. They will not be able to see him, talk to him face to face. They are pure devotees of Krishna. Their whole life revolved around Krishna. Krishna was the center of their activities. If our activities that we perform on a daily basis do not produce connection with Krishna, then we are actually wasting our time. What is the use of those activities if Krishna is not in the center of our activities? Many times I give this example. Say there is a glass jar, there is a big rock, there are some stones, pebbles, and sand, and all of that needs to fit inside that glass jar. It is possible, but we have to use our intelligence. How do we do that? What should we do? Should we first put the sand in there, then the pebbles, and then the stones? Then there'll be no place for the big rock. But if we put the big rock inside first, then the stones and pebbles will find their way on the side. They will just find their way down there. And sand will find its way completely inside the jar. So what is that big rock? Krishna. So, and that glass jar is our daily activities, our, whatever we do on a daily basis. If we put Krishna first, then all other activities that we perform during the day, they will fall in place. So it's just like the Pandavas had Krishna in the center of their lives. We also somehow or the other should try hard to figure out how can I put Krishna in the center of all the activities that I perform during the day. Then it'll be very easy to be Krishna conscious throughout the day, even though we will be engaged in so many different activities. And then naturally, we will develop that connection with Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, he gave us the process by which we can use our senses in Krishna's service. Let's take the sense which is most ferocious, which is most difficult to control, the tongue. And Srila Prabhupada says, we can control the tongue. What is the duty of the tongue? To vibrate, which is speak, mostly nonsense, and also to eat, mostly nonsense. If we don't have the knowledge from Srila Prabhupada, if you have not read Bhagavad Gita, most people, they consider their stomach to be like a garbage can, just dump anything and everything, whatever you see, boom, boom, boom. I remember my nephew used to be called a trash can because he would pick up anything that he saw and put it in his mouth. So mother used to call him a trash can. No, we need to control our tongue. How? By eating only Krishna Prasadam. That will satisfy our activity of the tongue of eating. And by vibration, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita chapter 17 and 18, austerity of speech. We recite the scriptures, we chant attentively. That will be how we will be able to, by reading, chanting, and eating, we will be able to engage our tongue in Krishna consciousness and also be able to control it. Let's take our eyes. We can control that by appreciating the deity form of the Lord. The nose, in deity worship, we offer incense and tulasi leaves, smelling that after offering to the Lord. That is how we can control the sense of smell. Ears, hearing the holy name of the Lord. We can use our hands to clean the temple. This all reminds us of Ambarish Maharaj, how he engaged all his senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. That is a perfect process. And when we follow this perfect process of engaging all our senses in Krishna's service, then automatically we'll remove our conditioning. What more do we want? Only thing we need is sincerity and seriousness in this path. Of course, good devotee association. If we don't have good devotee association, then it becomes very difficult. As I was mentioning, Balabhadra Prabhu gave such a nice lecture on devotee association. So we need to keep our part of the deal. Then Krishna will, keep his part of the deal. Ye yatha ma prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto Krishna, he rewards them accordingly. So when we keep our part of the deal, then Guru and Krishna will definitely keep their part of the deal. Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. He's given us books, temples, devotees, festivals, deities, prasadam, everything. The whole package. When we go on vacation, we try to look for discount packages, that includes the flight and the hotel and the car, etc., etc. Here is a whole complete package, free of charge. We don't even have to pay. Of course, yes, we do need to pay. the price that we need to pay is, I had heard this one time, lolium, greed. We must have that greed to follow this process. That is all we need. And then it won't be difficult to be fully Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada says this process is simple for simple people and it's complicated for complicated people. So we decide, we want to be simple and, take this, follow this process. We have a choice. We make the right choice, and then we are able to become fully Krishna conscious. So today's verse, once again, the Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he is awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Gita, for such a wonderful class, and thank you for covering it and really speaking about so many powerful points, especially rising to the level of being Krishna conscious. Thank you so much for addressing that point. Would like to ask devotees if you have any questions, any comments, clarification, please do ask. Yes, Mata Titi Lata, please go ahead, Mataji.
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
As always, a very wonderful class. Mataji, I have one question. Actually, I have two questions. One is about this controlling thing, which you were saying. At school, at office, we see that other people also control, try to control. So at that time, because that's a very official place, it's a place where, as a crab, people will pull you down. So should we also try to defend that, or should we just say that, oh, it is Krishna's mercy, and then accept it? How should we handle that?
Well, it depends on each situation, and what will be the result of that, the consequence of that situation. Based on that, main thing is that we should not lose our cool, not get upset or angry. Also try to perform austerity of speech, where Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that we should speak, first of all, we should be honest and speak in such a way that we do not agitate the mind of the others. So we keep all this in mind, learn to be patient and tolerant, and handle the situation in the best way possible. Sometimes, we may not get the result that we want, we just try to do our duty. Say, for instance, I'm in the office and someone is unnecessarily blaming me for something that I haven't done, and kind of putting me in trouble or whatever it is. So what I would do is be calm and composed, be very gentle and polite, and let the boss know that this is what the situation is, and let the boss decide what the boss wants to do, instead of raising my voice, arguing with that colleague or whatever it may be. It's different for each situation, so it depends what the situation is. I hope that helps, Aditi.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. One more question, Mataji. For demigods, here it is mentioned that Krishna comes to help the demigods, but I'm not talking about Hiranyakashipu, because Hiranyakashipu has got the power to control the demigods. I mean, he was ruling the world. But for other people, like during Arjuna's time, during Mahabharat time, demigods have the power to stop the heart of the demons, to kill them. But other than just making this Bhagavad Gita calm and pastime of Krishna, is there any other reason why they never did this and Krishna had to come and help?
I actually didn't understand your question. So are you trying to say that demigods, they have the power to defeat the demons, but sometimes they take Krishna's help? Is that what you're saying?
So here it mentions in the translation that Krishna comes to help the demigods. So my point is, for those demons like in Mahabharata, so those people, demigods could have easily controlled the situation, by killing them themselves. So why did Krishna come? Other than the reason that Bhagavad Gita had to come and Krishna was doing pastime.
Yes, so that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. He comes for three reasons actually. One is to annihilate the miscreants, to protect the devotees, and to re-establish religion. So when he noticed that, irreligion was really on the rise, so it was necessary for him to come. And of course, as you mentioned, also to revive the Bhagavad Gita, as he says, Yogo Nashtaha Parantapa, that this spiritual science was being destroyed. So he had to come and re-speak the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna, yes, demigods do have the power to kill the demons, but not all the demons. Just like when, of course, Krishna also comes to give pleasure to his devotees. The devotees like to, hear and see these pastimes where he kills all these demons like Putana and Bakasur and Agasur and all these demons. So it is also for the pleasure of the devotees. At the same time, to deliver these demons also. So there are different reasons. And it's not possible for demigods to kill all the demons. There are certain very powerful demons, like you mentioned, Hiranyakashipu or Kamsa. It's not possible. And they are destined to be killed by the Supreme Lord. Like we know that Jai and Vijay, they came as, Ravana and Kamsa and all. So they were meant to be delivered by Krishna. So sometimes demigods do kill the demons, but most of the times it is Krishna. I hope that helps, Aditi.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the question, Mataji. Any other questions from devotees? Any other thoughts? Mother, I have a question, and that is when you were mentioning in your class about the 3 different levels of disciples, and I was just thinking of one situation or one scenario or level when a disciple is receiving instructions from the spiritual master, but with enthusiasm or excitement, they carry out the instruction in a way where it's hurting others, devotees, or offending, and it's unknowing, but they have genuineness of doing it, but it was in the mode of passion, and then others get offended, others get, hurt, or they feel I'm not welcomed here or whatever. How to handle that situation, Mother?
That's quite common.
That's why, Mother.
Yes. That is why it's very important to read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. Very important to associate with advanced devotees so we can learn from them. The reason I'm saying reading Srila Prabhupada's books is because then we learn from those books, how should we behave? A good disciple is one who understands the mood of the spiritual master, understands what is the purpose of that instruction, and not just blindly go ahead and, follow it. Try to understand. And if cannot understand, then request the spiritual master to explain it further. If one is in doubt that, oh, how should I follow this instruction, right? Say, for instance, the instruction the spiritual master gives to the disciple is, you should preach to everyone you meet. Now, you can take it literally. You can come to the temple, approach a pure devotee and start preaching. But that's not what the spiritual master means, What he's trying to say, you preach whomsoever you meet, in the sense in the grocery store, gas station, or wherever, someone who doesn't know. So we have to be, using our intelligence to understand, what does that instruction mean? Now, if we go ahead and walk up to a pure devotee and start preaching, that is offensive, right? That devotee may or may not feel offended also about this. So we have to be careful. And if we are not sure, what does that instruction actually mean? That if the spiritual master is not accessible, to and further understand it, we can, consult with a pure devotee, advanced devotee, and ask, how do you think I should follow this instruction? And I'm pretty sure we'll get a good answer for that. I hope that helps.
Yes, Mother, that really helps. It brings me to the next question.
Mhm.
Mother, what is because as you're explaining the answer, it appears or it sounds like spiritual master's instructions and knowing the spiritual master's mood, it almost sounds like it's different. It's like me telling someone, okay, go to the kitchen and make some khichdi, an instruction. But then how to do it, what to add, what not to add. So I'm just trying to understand, Mother, is for a disciple to execute the instructions, not understanding the mood, they seem to be different. Is that correct, Mother?
Not really, because when the spiritual master is giving, now make khichdi is actually doing service in the kitchen, temple kitchen. So the mood of the spiritual master is to engage the disciple in practical service in the temple. So it is, spiritual master has so many disciples. It's not possible to, give the recipe and, explain. No, just that instruction is there, do service. So it is important that if the disciple doesn't know, then inquire from someone who knows, someone who is making khichdi. Just approach in a humble state of mind and say, this is an instruction I have. Can you please help me? Can you give me the recipe? Can you show me how to make khichdi? But the mood of the spiritual master is that the disciple should engage in practical service. And that mood should be of humility, not that, oh, I have got the instruction, I am a great disciple. Guess what? The spiritual master is giving me an instruction and to make khichdi for all the no. That's not the right attitude. That's not the consciousness. The mood of the spiritual master is that we engage in practical service in the mood of humility. Does that make sense?
Completely, Mother. You just hit that right on the head on the nail. Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you.
You
Any
said,
other question?
you said I hit the head on the nail. No, I hit
No, the nail on
head.
the head, huh? Mother, that's one thing I have learned, that as I'm, like all my American slogans, everything is going ulta. It must be too much, I think I'm running out of RAM in my head is what it is. Thank you, Mother. Perfect. It's just, yeah, because now I see, because sometimes when we receive the instructions, we get so puffed up. And then we execute in the wrong mood. And like you said, preaching to, if my guru said to go preach, then we preach to anybody, and even to a pure devotee, in front of a pure devotee, when the pure devotee is sitting next to us, or a senior devotee is sitting next to us, because we get so puffed up, and our, what's the word? And we just keep falling on, but my spiritual master said so. Well, then there's got to be more than just that. Thank you, Mother. You really, really clarified that point. Thank you. There is a question or a comment here from Dear Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. Wait, where am I? This thing is driving me. Okay. Hare Krishna, great point. Generally, the instructions of spiritual master should be followed under the shelter of senior devotees. Yes, high-level instructions from spiritual master and how to follow instructions details can be learned from senior devotees. Yes, very nice point there, Krishna. Thank you. Yes, I do remember. Yes, you're mentioning, it takes me back to my training days, receiving instructions from spiritual master and then getting guidance from all the seniors. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Any other points from devotees? Any other questions? Mother, another question I have is when you talked about this devotee who came up to you to worship husband as like God, and I've heard that so many times. And that's why when you, and I'm so glad that you asked this devotee to show to go to Prabhupada. And that's why when you said that, it reminds me of what Vishnupada Prabhu will always say, WWSPD, what would Srila Prabhupada do? If he didn't say, don't do it. Now, Mother, in that sense, and it's so interesting, Mother, that you said, which I didn't think about it, that, because I have heard and come across in all my devotional life, situations with some women where they were told by their husbands, you worship me like God, you serve me first before we go here. If not, it is a sin or something, you do this first for me before we go here. But I never thought of it as envy. I thought of it as control. But there is some envy also within the control, right, Mother?
Yes, yes. It is basically envy. It's because the husband can see that the wife is doing better spiritually, is chanting better, is reading more, or is serving more. It could be anything. So instead of, this is what the spiritual master told her, that it's because your husband is envious of you. And that is demoniac mentality, See, Srila Prabhupada has given us the basic of the process. The basic foundation is that we are not these bodies. I remember hearing one Mataji went up to Srila Prabhupada, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and told him, that why is it that, I am born as a woman, because here the men are, thinking they are superior, etc., etc. Prabhupada stopped her. He said, that's where the problem is. You think that you are a woman. You're not this body. You see, that is the first lesson we learn from Bhagavad Gita, that I'm not this body. So as long as we are on the bodily concept of life, these issues will be there. So first of all, we need to come to that level of consciousness where we see all living entities equally. We see them all as spirit souls, parts of Krishna. Then this mentality of superiority, controlling, or considering oneself to be better than the spouse, that will not take place then.
Which means, Mother, we have to, in order for us to really, and I thank you for sharing that point, when Prabhupada told this Mataji, that's because you think that you're a woman, which comes to the point, Mother, that Srila Prabhupada is really teaching us how to come to the level of equal vision. We are not the body, we are spirit souls. And as you're speaking, Mother, I was remembering an article years ago, and I don't remember the name of the proper disciple, but I remember that the husband's name starts with a D, proper disciple, but I forgot his wife's name. She left her body many years ago, and they wrote a very nice article on her. And there was a quote by Srila Prabhupada that her husband was actually sharing when his wife, as what's the word they call, after someone leaves, they share memories or something. And the husband was sharing memories of his wife, that Srila Prabhupada said to this devotee, the Prabhupada disciple of Mataji, that you are more qualified than your husband. Don't think that because you're a woman, you're second class because of your attitude. So I was like, when I read that, I was so moved. I was so moved that Prabhupada said that in front of the husband, and he was saying this Prabhu, that he felt, that's when he learned that his wife is not his inferior, but they're equal. So and they work together in service. So I was really remembering that when you were speaking about this, Mother. Thank you so much for sharing that point.
Actually, this devotee took it in the positive way, right? But there was this incident, I remember, this was probably 20 years ago, when I had arranged a program of my spiritual master visiting these devotees who had just started, Krishna consciousness, to their house to do a program. And it was an evening program, and the spiritual master told the wife, you are more intelligent. And that went straight to her head. And that really was like, she would keep referring, that I am more intelligent than my husband. I'm more intelligent than my husband. That's you see, so it can work the other way too. So it depends on the consciousness of the spouse, how they take it.
And the maturity.
Mhm.
So it can either go away, it is going to make the wife swollen-headed, or
Yes.
make the husband feel like, okay, she's going to boss me over, so I better leave. One or the other.
Actually, they did want to get divorced.
Hare Krishna.
But counseling helped,
Oh, good.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm the counselor here, so.
Oh, Haribol, mother, you saved it.
No, Krishna saved them. Very nice devotees now, doing one
Wow.
preaching. Yes.
I was just reading yesterday to mother. I think yesterday or day before was Mother Jamuna's passing, her anniversary.
Mhm,
And I was reading this beautiful sharing by her husband.
mhm.
I think it's Gurudas. Yes. Mother Malati Sarva Sham Sundar, hers was Gurudas. And the way Gurudas Prabhu was glorifying her, I had goosebumps just reading how, because they took Vanapras, like
Yes.
very, very young age. But it was so beautiful to read Gurudas Prabhu's glorifying his wife on her death anniversary. I had goosebumps. I was like, wow.
Did you get to meet her?
Yes, mother. The first time I met her was in 1994 in DC, when she came to my Gurudev's preaching center. I don't know whether my husband remembers, but you were there. I think you forgot, but you don't remember?
I don't know. You go ahead anyway.
Yeah, no, we went for her morning class. It was a Saturday or Sunday morning. I remember.
What's the name?
Mother Jamuna.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Cookbook Jamuna. Yeah,
Yes.
Cookbook, Mother Cookbook Yamuna.
Yeah, her class at
I fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Howard, Maryland.
Yeah, Howard. And she sat on the seat completely in white sari, mother. And she was speaking all about her glories about cooking for Shiva Prabhupada. And mother, class was supposed to be only for 1 hour, right? It went on for 3-4 hours. We were not hungry. We just wanted to just sit and hear and hear. Next thing we knew, we're like, oh, it's lunchtime. But wait, how did the time go? That was my first and my last meeting with Mother Jamuna.
Yeah, I also met her only one time.
Yes, mother.
I remember it was in Mayapur, and probably many decades ago. And so it was announced at Mangalarti that there's going to be a Vaishnavi Sangha, where all the Vaishnavis will come together in one room and talk about Srila Prabhupada. And that's when I met Rukmini Mataji and Yamuna Mataji. And just being in that room was like getting goosebumps, and just watching them, just looking at their faces, such pure devotees, and talking about Prabhupada. That was ecstasy. Yes.
It was real ecstasy. It's so clear in my mind, Mother Jamuna, how Mother Jamuna, how her face, how she sat, white hair, white sari. It's so clear. Yeah. Yes, very, very short, bob cut, as they call it, mother, sitting on the seat.
And smiling all the time.
Yes. And mother, she has a magnetic smile. Magnetic.
And her voice, her singing,
her singing was so angelic. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard it, but when I've heard it on the recording, but when you hear her singing, mm-hmm. I remember I had goosebumps. It was so angelic. Just meeting her, I felt, okay, this is my lifetime achievement. I was so happy to meet the Mother Yamuna, was like, wow. We were fortunate, mother. We were really fortunate to meet.
We have time. I can relate to you what Rukmini
said. Please, mother, please.
In that meeting, she was talking about her experience with Srila Prabhupada. And she said she was on the altar, doing deity worship. And Srila Prabhupada had walked in to watch her, perform deity worship. He was present at the Aarti. And she said that after she offered and she turned around, to offer incense or whatever, some article around, she noticed that from Srila Prabhupada's eyes, torrents of tears were coming out like sprays. She said, I am not joking, I'm not exaggerating, but she saw torrents of tears coming straight out from Srila Prabhupada's eyes. And you can imagine what happened to all of us over there. Amazing.
That is goosebumps, Mother.
Yes.
Goosebumps. Hare Krishna. Mother Yamuna was all her cooking, like I still carry, and I always tell devotees, get the book, Lord Krishna's Cuisine. Having that cookbook is having Mother Yamuna in your kitchen. Such an
Yeah.
amazing book. Completely. And I have that book and I always refer to that book. Oh my God. And it's amazing how Mother Yamuna talks, and before each recipe, she would write a little, blip, as they call it, and she would share the pastimes and how Shri Prabhupada would do this and would do that. Amazing, Mother. Yeah, I was very pleased, blessed that, I was, we had the good fortune to only one time, but it was nice. Yeah. Thank you for really shedding more and more light on Mother Yamuna. Thank you.
Oh,
Any
this last time was with Mother Rukmini. She's
Mother Rukmini. Yes. Yeah, Mother Rukmini is another wonderful, wonderful personality.
Yeah, we did the communications course together in Mayapur when her husband Anuttama Prabhu was,
Yes.
Teaching it.
Yeah, he's very good in that course. He's like he walks it. He walks it.
Very strict too.
Oh yes, Mother. Even if one line is missing, he will tell me, Anusuya, you missed this. Anusuya. Now I get a lot of corrections from him. He's my GBC.
Which is good.
It is very good. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. In fact, I remember he was correcting me on my birthday this year, and I thanked him. And he said, I said, Prabhu, thank you for correcting me. He says, Anusuya, it's not easy to correct, but you allow me to correct you so I can correct you. I said, okay, Prabhu, whatever. That was nice. Any questions from devotees? Any thoughts? Any, reflection, clarification on this amazing, beautiful verse? If there isn't, thank you so much, Mother Gita, for adding so much nectar, I have to say, in this class, so much nectar. And thank you to all the devotees for joining us. Vancha kaptibhyascha, kripasundavecha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Mother Gita.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.